They tell you inflation is a problem, something unfortunate, something that just happens. Prices rise, everyone complains, governments apologize. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If governments really hated inflation, it wouldn't keep showing up again and again and again. Now imagine this. Tomorrow morning, your government announces a new tax, a clear one. From today, everyone pays 5% more. People would be furious. Headlines explode, protests, votes swing, careers end. But if prices quietly rise 5% instead, no announcement, no vote, no debate, just higher bills. That difference is the entire story. And it matters right now more than most people realize. Because governments around the world are sitting on historic levels of debt, not small debt, not manageable debt, debt so large that paying it back honestly would require political suicide. So they don't do it honestly, they do it quietly. Let's slow this down. When a government needs money, it has two obvious options: taxes or borrowing. Taxes are visible. You see them on your paycheck. You feel them instantly. Borrowing feels easier. Governments issue bonds. Investors lend money. The promise is simple. We'll pay you back later, with interest. For years, this worked beautifully. Low interest rates, growing economies. Debt felt harmless until it didn't. Because debt has a timer, and eventually, the bill arrives. Now here's where inflation enters the room. Inflation is not just prices going up, it's money losing value. If you owe someone $100 and those dollars are worth less in the future, you're still paying $100, but it hurts less. That's not a metaphor, that's math. Say a government owes $1 trillion. If inflation runs at 5% for a few years, the real value of that debt shrinks, quietly, automatically. No vote required. From the government's perspective, inflation is a debt haircut that no one had to agree to. And here's the irony. The people who feel it most are not the politicians who approved a debt. It's savers, workers, anyone holding cash. Inflation taxes your purchasing power, not once, but every day. You don't get a bill in the mail. You just notice that your salary doesn't stretch as far. Your savings don't feel as safe. And somehow you're working just as hard for less. Now compare that to taxes. Taxes are loud. Inflation is quiet. Taxes hit everyone at once. Inflation spreads slowly, unevenly, and confusingly. And confusion is politically useful. When prices rise, governments rarely say, "We chose this." They blame supply chains, wars, corporations, greed, weather. Anything but policy. Yet inflation doesn't exist without policy. Central banks create money, governments spend it, debt expands, and inflation becomes the pressure valve. Here's the uncomfortable math. If a government tried to pay its debt purely through taxes, voters would notice immediately. If it relies on inflation, the cost is hidden inside every transaction. A coffee costs more. Rent creeps up. Groceries sting. No single moment to rebel against, just a constant drip. And there's another layer most people miss. Inflation doesn't hurt everyone equally. If you own assets, stocks, properties, businesses, prices rising can actually help you. Your assets inflate with the system. But if you live paycheck to paycheck, inflation is brutal. Your costs rise first. Your wages follow later, if they follow at all. So inflation quietly shifts wealth from savers to borrowers, from workers to asset owners, from the public to the state, all without a single new tax law. This is why inflation is often called a hidden tax. But that phrase is almost too polite. It's not hidden by accident. It's hidden by design. Now zoom out. Why does this matter now? Because the scale has changed. After financial crises, pandemics, wars, and bailouts, government debt isn't just high, it's structurally embedded. Raising taxes enough to fix it would be politically impossible.
Cutting spending enough would break systems people depend on. Inflation becomes the least explosive option. Not painless, just quieter. And that's the trade-off governments keep choosing. Publicly, they promise price stability. Privately, they tolerate inflation as long as it stays manageable. Not too high to cause panic, not too low to make that heavier. Just enough to erode value slowly.